Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy YeezySupply here with a new series. This is a tutorial series. My hope and my goal in this is to kind of show you guys what it takes to set up and run for Yeezy Supply. I know some of you may have seen my Yeezy Day video, my live comp, and maybe you're thinking to yourself like, you know, how do I set up? How do I actually run for some of these limited hype sneakers dropping on Yeezy Supply? Right now it's the tail end of August. Next month in September we have some releases, Yeezy slides, as well as some foam runners toward the end of the month. I want to go ahead and give you guys kind of a heads up, show you what my setup looks like, and just give you some general tips and pointers on running for Yeezy Supply. I feel like at this point I've been running it a lot, and that seems to be one of the best places to be able to clip up heavy. What you're gonna need is the right bots, the right proxies, as well as the right information. You know, every bot has its own little kind of tips and tricks. In this tutorial, we're probably going to be going over Prism, but all of the concepts are essentially the same. You're going to have a bot, you're going to have proxies, you're going to need V3 Captcha harvesters. So yeah, let's get into the tutorial. Let's go. Okay guys, the first thing I want to talk about is bots. Which bot you choose may determine your fate on any drop, whether it's Yeezy Supply, Shopify, or Foot Sites. I'm going to touch on the bots that I think are doing very well at Yeezy Supply, or at least going to be able to cook. There are other bots that you're going to see. I'm not going to touch on them too much because personally I just don't think they cook that hard. If I left out a bot that's your favorite that you cook with, I'm sorry, freaking don't roast me in the comments. These are just my opinions. So the first bot that I want to talk about is Prism. Prism's a really good bot, and it's going to be able to pass splash and to be able to cook on Yeezy Supply. The dev team, Felipe, everybody like that's got tons of updates constantly coming into Prism. They at one point were doing super well on Yeezy Supply. More recently, they're doing kind of okay. I still personally run them as my main Yeezy Supply bot because I believe in them. They pass splash for me a lot. I get a lot of carts. It's just tough to convert those carts into checkouts, and I think mostly that's got to do with proxies. So, the next bot I want to talk about is Ganesh. Ganesh is doing mediocre at Yeezy Supply as of late, but at one point it was cooking very hard. I also believe in this dev team. Ganesh is a good bot if you've got the capital for it. The next bot I want to talk about is Mech AIO. I've been getting into Mech more so over the last few months. I absolutely love this bot. For the price, it's phenomenal. The quality of the bot is really good. Mech really crushes Yeezy Supply consistently. You get 2 instances. You can run up to 2,800 tasks across those 2 instances. So you can definitely do everything you need to do with Mech. Mike is a phenomenal dev. I love Mech. I like this bot. The next bot I'm going to talk about is Dashi. At one point, Dashi was the king of Yeezy Supply. Last couple of months, ever since kind of June wrapped up, Dashi has been down in the dumps. Right now, it's trash. Don't hate me. Don't roast me in my comments. If you're cooking with Dashi, you're elite level because Dashi has the shittiest UI I've ever come across. It's terrible. It does the job, but in terms of what I want to see during a drop, in order to look at logs or to be able to like really understand where my tasks are, or even just to scroll around while my tasks are running, Dashi's super slow. You can run about 500 to 1,000 tasks on Dashi. If you don't have a lot of capital and you just want to buy into Dashi for a month, you know, obviously you're going to pay the 40 bucks ask, but you're also going to pay $50 for the monthly, so think about that. The next 2 I'm going to talk about are the best budget Yeezy Supply bots on the market. Toru. If you don't have a lot of money, go with Toru. Even if you have a lot of money, go with Toru. Toru's doing phenomenal. What are you doing? So Toru's been killing Yeezy Supply. Velox is the last one I want to talk about. Velox also crushing Yeezy Supply. I have buddies who run Velox that hit consistently. Both of those are phenomenal options. So I'm on BotBroker right now. Botbroker.io is a website where you can buy and sell your bots. It's a very secure marketplace for bots, but you're going to pay a premium for buying on BotBroker. So you're going to spend extra money buying these bots on BotBroker. Good alternatives are Botmart, and my personal favorite that I use for all of my bot purchases that I can, which is Splash Market. I love Splash Marketplace. They have good middlemen, very easy transactions, and you know they get the whole deal done. A lot of good sellers on Splash Market. Truly my favorite place to buy and sell bots. Alternatively to buying a bot, you can just rent a bot. You can either buy weekly, per drop, or monthly. Obviously, a daily is going to be cheaper than paying for a weekly or a monthly, unless you wait till the last minute. And then what ends up happening is, like, you could have rented a bot, like right now it's August 29th. You could have rented a bot now that might even skyrocket going into the next month, during the month. If a bot starts doing well, there's a lot of ebbs and flows. So when a bot does well, all the secondary market and rental prices jump up. They get inflated. If a bot tanks, they go down. From a rental perspective, renting is nice because you're not committing so much money. So that's a good thing about renting. You can just kind of rent something for a month, try it out. And quite frankly, before you buy a bot, you should probably rent it to try it out. Otherwise, how are you going to know if you even like to run on it? All bots have different UIs. Some are going to have things that you like about them. Some are going to have things that you hate about them. The only way to figure it out is to actually run it. Going back to the rentals, I'm here in Cloud Pocket rental server. There's a phenomenal server that I use to rent a lot from. They got pretty decent service, good prices. So what you're going to see is kind of a ranking of best bots to worst bots. This is the reservation list for September. You'll see that Wrath is going for $450. Boom, got updated a couple days later. Now it's $500. So that should show you what happens with the rental market. You know, they posted these prices, August 25th. One day, a couple days later, it looks like Wrath price went up. So you're paying market. It is what it is. Wrath is the best bot on the market, hands down. Phenomenal dev team. Jason crushes it. Really smart guy. That guy is, and he's really active in Discord. So Wrath still the tops. Phenomenal YeezySupply. I'm gonna skip over Noble. I'll look. Here's Prism. You want to rent Prism? It's $400 a month. You want to buy it? You spend $2,000. You'll get to own Prism, and then you'll be able to resell it later. Obviously, it has a renewal cost as well, but Prism right now is a great value buy. From a rental perspective, I don't know if I would shell out $400 to rent it. I would much rather just own Prism. Kodai is now coming back on top. Kodai's been crushing foot sites. It also does pretty well at Yeezy Supply. So Kodai is a really good budget rental at $300. A little bit on the pricier side. A couple months ago, Kodai was like $150 a month, but market has spoken. Kodai's been doing well, and deservedly so. It's more expensive now. You'll also see that Soul AIO is also a great pickup. Soul cooks Yeezy Supply for the most part. The last drop, it didn't do phenomenal, but it is what it is. Otherwise, it's pretty consistent. Mac and so on and so forth. So kind of what I'm trying to convey to you is there are rental prices. You can rent much cheaper than buying, and you can try a bot out. The next thing that I want to talk about is Captcha harvesting. So if you don't know what Captcha harvesting is or any of this stuff, just understand that you need good Gmails and good ISP proxies in order to build a good trust score. So Yeezy Supply will let you through Q. So what is Q? It's basically a virtual line. When a Yeezy Supply drop happens, everybody stands in a virtual line. They get a random place in that line. And whether or not they're going to let you through to purchase the product depends on your Gmails and your ISPs that you're using to harvest. Personally, I prefer to use AYCD Autosolve. It makes everything really easy. I'm running multiple bots and connecting all my bots to Autosolve, and Autosolve is going to solve each Captcha request for me, cycle through all my different Gmails. You'll see I have 68 Gmails. Autosolve does cost a little bit of money during the month. I think it's something like, you got to buy the toolbox and then Autosolve, so it's maybe like $30 or $40 a month. But it, for what it does, it's completely worth it. It's a full toolbox. You can also farm your Gmails, which is super important. So Autosolve is, doing internet searches for you on all your different Gmails and ISPs. It's looking at videos. It's really building that trust score from Google. All that stuff costs money. It's going to cost you money to get Gmails. It's going to cost money for ISPs, but it is worth it because it's essential to cook. Could you pick up a Toru rental and run your harvesters in bot and do okay? Yes, you absolutely can. If you're trying to do this a little bit more long term, go ahead and invest in AYCD. Go ahead and invest in some Gmails and ISPs and really do it right, in my opinion. For the first few months that I was botting, I did it without, Toolbox. I did it without Autosolve. I could still, watch some YouTube videos or something like that on my Gmails to try to build a trust score. But after a while, I realized, like, okay, this is getting tedious without a toolbox. So AYCD Autosolve, phenomenal option. The next thing I want to talk about is proxies. Which proxies you use are supremely important when it comes to buying Yeezy Supply. Recently, Yeezy Supply has really upped their security. A lot of proxies that used to work no longer work, and it seems like the only way to figure out which proxies are going to work for you is just to buy a bunch of different companies, plug them in, and see what works. Not to mention the fact that different proxies work differently with different bots. For some bots, ISPs work better. For other bots, residential proxies work better. I think as of late, the two best options for Yeezy Supply are clean DCs, or data center proxies, or ISPs, ones that are not being used extensively for Yeezy Supply in the past. So they're not banned, and they're going to allow you to generate cookies in order to pass Akamai and pass all the bot protection that exists. And it's going to allow you to cart and to check out. Yeezy Supply has become very restrictive with how many cookies they let you generate. And because their security is high, a lot of IPs are not going to be able to generate cookies at all. Which really sucks when you're running a ton of tasks and none of them can, you can cart at best, but you can't check out. That is a frustrating feeling. So I would say probably some daily ISPs or daily DCs are going to do well for you if you just pick some up. They're pretty cheap. You just buy them, they're for 1 day or 1 week, and you just kind of use them and then you move on, which isn't a bad option, honestly. You just kind of load up per drop. Your other option is going to be to use residentials. Now, the thing about residentials is you are pulling from a pool of millions of IPs. However, so are an ass ton of other people. So imagine everybody is using the same proxies, trashing them, whatever, and then you try to use those proxies to buy Yeezy Supply. Guess what? You're going to have a bad time. It's not to say that residentials will not work. I personally use a lot of residentials. Some of the companies that I use are diamond proxies, donut proxies, mushroom proxies, lemon proxies. Those to me are some of my favorites, and I use them pretty consistently and pretty regularly, and I see success with them. So those are all solid companies. Pick one. I'll have links down in the description for those. So now, guys, what I want to show you is a very basic Yeezy Supply setup. This is a setup that I use, pretty easy to do. So I'm going to show you what it looks like in Prism. All the concepts are essentially the same in any bot. You're going to have to make tasks. You're going to have to make sure to have captchas taken care of. You're going to start those tasks at a particular time, and you're going to maybe solve 3DS windows. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create tasks. Prism has a pretty easy module for task creation. You just kind of pick what you want. You pick Yeezy Supply, and that should keep things nice and simple. Here we go, Yeezy Supply, tasks. All right. So they just made a task group for us. All you really have to do is define your profile groups. To touch on profiles and cards for a brief moment, what I want to tell you is you don't really want to use hard cards right now on Yeezy Supply. A lot of bots have 3DS handling, and they'll open up a 3DS window. You don't want to deal with that. My two recommendations for botting Yeezy Supply for cards, for virtual cards, I recommend using Privacy. Privacy has no 3DS. It's just going to go direct straight to checkout, and it's a great feeling. And then your other option is to use Stripe credit card or virtual cards. The thing about Stripe is it's a little bit harder to get. There's an application process. You have to kind of show that you're a business and that sort of thing. So I'm going to pick my Yeezy Supply group. Delays at 3,000 default. I could leave it. You could maybe up it to 5,000. You don't have to mess with delays too much though. Most bots are doing automatic delays for what's going to work best. So don't fret too much about delays. Proxy list, like I said, what I personally like to do is I'll use a bunch of different companies' proxies. I'll toss them into one giant list and just run that across all my tasks and let my bots kind of cycle through them. Make sure if you're going to use a method where you're combining a lot of proxies from different companies, that you are shuffling those lists. Depending on the bot that you use, most bots go sequential down a proxy list. So if you put a bunch of lemon proxies and then a bunch of mushroom and then a bunch of diamond, then a bunch of donut, guess what? Your donut, your diamond, that stuff might not even get used because they're so far down the list. What you want to do is shuffle it all up. I prefer to do that in a text editor like Sublime. That is a good text editor. I'll toss all my proxies in and I'll shuffle them up. So normally I'll just like, whatever, restock resis. I'm good. Sizing, you can either choose specific sizes or choose a size group. I've even got like a bay size group that I use for a lot of Yeezys. If you're going for 350s, you want to focus bay sizes. If you're going for slides, you can focus all full sizing. Same thing with foam runners. So, you know, experiment with that a little bit. All right, now I'm going to create tasks and you're going to see that tasks are made. So you'll see my SKU is automatically filled out. My sizing is filled out. My task groups are filled out. And that's all it really takes. One thing I do want to mention is if you're using Autosolve, you want to make sure to connect Autosolve with your, you know, API key, all that kind of stuff in your Captcha harvesters, and then select it as a source. If you're not using Autosolve, you can just do default, go to the Captcha tab, and then what you can do is you can open a couple of Yeezy. You can do some Yeezy harvesters, you know, make sure you're logging into Google. Good, I'm in. And then you just pop out a harvester and you're pretty much good to go. So this harvester, you don't have to do anything for V3 Captcha harvesting. It's invisible, it sits in the back. You don't have to mess with it. There's no click boxes or anything like that. So yeah, jumping back to tasks. Last thing I want to talk about is when do you start your tasks? If you have a lot of Gmails and you have some to burn or to spare, I recommend starting my tasks about 5 minutes before drop time. So for us on the West Coast, Yeezy Supply drops happen at 6 in the morning. I will start my task by 5:55 because what I want all my tasks to do is get ready and get into Splash. So before sale is live, I like to start my tasks. Some people will tell you do not start tasks until sale is live. For me personally, I end up with a lot more connection errors because a lot of people are using the same residentials that I'm using and overloading the network, and then it gets harder to get into Splash, believe it or not. So I recommend starting a couple minutes before the drop. That works pretty well. So let's say it was, you know, 5:55. I'm gonna go through and start all my tasks. On Prism for task counts, I would recommend keeping it to 3,000 tasks and under. You maybe can run more tasks than that. I have been experimenting with running less. Sometimes when you're botting, less is more. If you're running an ass ton of tasks, you're gonna have connection issues sometimes, and that's a problem, right? If I'm running 10,000 tasks and I blow the internet out on my server or my home computer or my router, guess what? None of those tasks are gonna do anything. If I would have just run 500 tasks, I would have had a better chance to cop because I was actually still connected to the internet. So it's something to think about, for sure. That's basically all there is to it. You start your tasks, and you know, you're gonna see I'm initializing. There's, you know, it's sold out, so nothing's really gonna happen. But I do just want to show you, like, when you start a task, you know, it pops up. So those are basically all of the basics to running Yeezy Supply. If you want to get into it, definitely I'll throw some links down in the description of some good places, good websites that you might be able to secure a bot or rent a bot from. And then I'm also going to have links in the description down below for the proxy companies that I recommend, as well as for if you're in need of Gmails, I recommend you check out Zenith Gmails. So I will put their information down below in the description as well. Zenith is a good place to get your Gmails. They come as 0.9s. You're going to probably get some proxies to go along with that. So that's a good value buy to me. If you're like kind of in a pinch for Gmails that are pre-farmed, there you go. Try Zenith out. That is the end of the video. I feel like we kind of went over everything that you need for a proper Yeezy Supply setup. If you have any questions, leave them for me down in the comments below. Check me out on Instagram. I've got some personal pairs that I'm selling on there, as well as if you just want to kind of connect and kick it and just talk about sneakers or sneaker drops or anything like that, hit me up. Always happy to have a chat. If you're in need of a cook group, if you don't know what a cook group is, it's just a group that's going to give you information or even sometimes ACO, or they'll run slots for you essentially. So you give them your information, they'll check out. So if you're in need of a good cook group, I recommend ResellsFNF. I'm going to leave their information down in the description, as well as the Discord invite link for anybody who wants in. The premium offering is $20 a month. You're going to get discounts on slots as well as some free slots. You're also going to get access to a lot of good monitors, and otherwise it's just a really good group of people. I know the owner very closely. We've been good friends for a long time. A lot of the staff is a lot of my friends. So yeah, definitely check out ResellsFNF. It's a really solid group, and they're also doing a lot of retail cooks. So if you're into retail cooks and that sort of thing, ResellsFNF, link to the Discord down in the description below. Give me a follow on Instagram, hit me up, leave a like on the video, please subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have more content coming, and yeah, until the next Yeezy Supply drop, good luck guys. Hope everybody cooks heavy. Take care.